Alright, what's up guys? This is NinjaDeathStrike bringing you another Play TCG match, and I figured I would be kind and spare you guys back-to-back overused deck matchups. I guess that would be the correct way to describe it. But I was going to post an Eels matchup and I didn't, is what I'm trying to say, because I know you guys hate Eels for various reasons. So instead, you get a somewhat odd matchup. This is Mono Groudon versus Mono Entei, or I guess not Mono Entei. It's Entei Ninetales, kind of a take on my deck. You can see there, though, playing Sam, Gunmonkey 696. He shows me his hand. He's got a whole lot of nothing, no energy, and a bunch of Ninetales. So we had actually played a match just before this, I think, and he didn't draw an energy the whole game. I think I was using the Dark deck there too, and I screwed him over with Weevil. I don't remember exactly, but anyhow, I'm trying out a Groudon deck this time. This is my very first time playing this deck. I know I've gotten requests for deck lists with the last few videos. Please do not ask me for deck list here because my list sucks right now. This is not a good list, so I'm just posting it because it's kind of an entertaining matchup, but I suck at Groudon. I need to completely revamp my list. So if you try to build this deck, do not follow this example. Anyhow, that being said, if you guys have followed my channel for any recent amount of time, you probably know I don't normally post deck lists, but since I've gotten so many requests for them, I figured once I get to 600 subs, I'm not going to do it like a special or anything like that, but I will post a deck overview of whatever deck you guys want. I'll put it up to a vote sometime in an upcoming video when I get closer to 600, so start thinking about what kind of deck, which deck you want to see me do an overview of, and I'll give you the deck list I have at the moment. My lists are always changing, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, but definitely will not be seeing this deck list. So anyhow, getting to the match, despite the fact that he had a terrible hand to begin with, he gets an awesome turn 2 here. I played that end just because I kind of needed to. I was a little bit stuck myself, so I went ahead and played it, and actually helped him out a whole lot more than I helped myself out. He gets 2 Ninetales on turn 2, which is just awesome for him. Gets an Eviolite, an Energy attached, and an Entei onto the bench. So here I'm just gonna heavy ball to get surprise, surprise, another Groudon. You do see there that I play 1 Terrakion. Just because, why not? Terrakion is basically a 7th prize in this deck, and what that means is your opponent gains no advantage from knocking it out. They still have to knock out 3 Groudons in order to win the game, so losing Terrakion is really not a big deal at all. I figured it wouldn't hurt to throw 1 in here, just because, hey, maybe it'll help. So I catch her out his fresh Entei here, and go ahead and use Tromp for 20, hit both of the Ninetales for 10, and that 10 damage on the Ninetales is really key, just because it means that now I can catch or kill them with Giant Claw without getting any more damage. Giant Claw will do 80, plus the 10 damage they have will put them at 90, so that's good for me. Unfortunately, I get catchered here in return, benching that second Groudon. Probably not the best choice because I can't really do anything with it. So I pay for my mistake with a catcher, get my just desserts, and he also had a switch, so he's able to switch right back into his main Entei, and I'm assuming he's going to be able to attach an energy here because he's got like 12 cards in his hand, so the chance of him not having an energy are pretty slim. That's going to put him at 2. That means next turn he'll be able to Grand Flame and start getting his acceleration going. So yep, there's the second energy. He actually benches a third Entei here which I don't know how I feel about that. I think really in retrospect for both of these decks, you don't want to bench that second or third card and unless you're either in danger of being KO'd or you're able to attach energy to it. So that's a mistake I think we both made here. And something I'll try to avoid in the future if I revamp this deck. I haven't touched it since the night I played this. Like I said, my list right now sucks. So I am going to take advantage of that catcher, drag out another Entei with no energy on it. Probably the one that I damaged, I would assume. Let's see which one I went for. Yep. Drag the one with 20 out, attached to my benched Entei. Play the random receiver just to see what I get, and also to get it in my discard in case I need it later. Then I'm going to go for an N, just to kind of get some of those cards out of his hand. I know it's pretty futile just because he's going to get him right back with Ninetales, but here's another reason I posted this video. Our flips for Super Scoop Up are retarded this match. I flipped double tails, and then I decide I'm just going to go for it and junk arm for it again, and thank God I flip a heads on my third attempt. So had a really good chance to hit a heads there and didn't, 75% chance, but I whiffed both of them. Luckily, I hit it on the third one. Otherwise, I probably would have just lost myself the match. And I'm able to pick up that burned Groudon, get it off my field, and then hit him for 120 damage. So I put him at 140. If he's not able to respond here, he's going to lose that Entei. But hey, look at that. He plays a Super Scoop Up and gets a heads on the first try. So that's cool for him, but he is going to pay for it later. So we'll enjoy watching that happen. Anyhow, he picks it up. He benches it again right away, which, like I said, probably a bit of a misplay. But not a real big deal. Here he gets a second of Violite. That's very nice for him. Assuming he's got a fire energy, he's going to be able to start getting the Entei wheel rolling. And from this turn and every turn after, he's just going to be able to accelerate his energy onto his bench, which is going to make his attackers much, much easier to stream than my attackers. And that's where I think Entei has a really big advantage in this matchup. This matchup, though, is just so weird. It's like a giant stalemate. It takes forever for someone to take a prize normally, just because there's so much healing and scooping up and avoiding things going on. It's just really, really odd. I don't know how to play it well yet either. I definitely will say that. I guess I need some practice with this matchup. I don't imagine it's something you'd see very often, though. These are both kind of offbeat decks, so go for the... I changed my mind about benching that Groudon, decided to use the Heavy Ball to grab Terrakion instead, just attached to him, since getting a Retaliate might be nice here. And he's less of a liability on my bench than having another Groudon with only one energy. So here we see he is going to get catchered up and then hit for 90 while more energy gets attached to the bench. So at this point in the game, even though it's tied 6-6, I feel like I'm at a really big disadvantage. Once Entei does get set up, it can be pretty scary to deal with. It just doesn't stop. So thank God I top decked the Juniper here. Like, miracle draw. I got super, super lucky there. I'm not going to say anything else. Top deck, probably the best card I could have drawn. So I check my discard and just decide I don't really want to bench that Groudon. I've got some more in my deck. I would rather just get rid of it so that it's not catcher bait. And I draw into a switch here, which is awesome. It means I get to attack this turn. So I'll be able to hit for 100, which is going to put him at 160. That'll be nice. Unfortunately, though, I don't hit an energy off of the Juniper, which seems to be a running theme with me. I just cannot find energy to save my life. I play 13 in this deck, so I had a pretty good chance of hitting one. You can see there's quite a bit left in my deck. I flipped tails on Super Scoop Up again, which is awesome. I love it when that happens. And I don't have a junk arm to get it back. I was just trying to pick up that Terrakion, but it's not a huge deal. Like I said, it is the 7th prize, so knocking it out, the only advantage your opponent gets is that they get to draw a prize card. It does not help them win or get closer to winning at all, because they still have to knock out 3 Groudons to win. So here, we get another Super Scoop Up. This one's a Tails. We get another Super Scoop Up. This one's a Tails. We get a Junk Arm for, you guessed it, Super Scoop Up. And hey, that one's a Tails. And now we get a second Junk Arm, I think. Let's see what happens here. He's going to think about it for a while. Yep, second Junk Arm for Super Scoop Up. And this one's ahead. So it took him 4 tries. He finally gets to pick up that Entei, which again sucks for me. It just means I don't get to take prize, which makes me sad. So, this match is so silly. Yeah, but there you go. That's what I was talking about. The bad flips catching up to him as well. He does have the fire energy, obviously, since he picked it up on the other one. And this time he doesn't bench the 3rd Entei, which is the right call, I think. So we get an Oak. That puts him into his 3rd Ninetales, so he can just draw like all of the cards now if he wants to. Obviously, he's not going to because that would make him lose, but he's got the option. So N is going to be pretty ineffective here, just because if he hits 1 fire energy, he's probably going to be set to just get all of his cards back immediately. So finally, the first prize gets taken after, I don't know, there's been like 500 damage dealt in this match, and no one's taken a prize up to this point. So the first prize finally gets taken. I do bench the Groudon here just because my active Groudon has quite a bit of damage, and I want to start powering up a second one. So I draw into an experience share here. That's pretty nice. No energy again. Awesome. That's going to hurt big time. I get 3 supporters and a random receiver though, so that's cool, I guess. And a plus power, which is not really going to help me at all. So I just hit him for 60 here. And what a good Groudon deck has that mine doesn't is other ways to heal outside of Super Scoop Up. Potion is surprisingly good because it puts you out of a 2-hit KO range. Moo Moo Milk works. Life Herb, if you flip heads a lot, is a good idea. I don't have any of that stuff in here. Crushing Hammer and Lost Remover are also pretty important, but I think I only have 1 Lost Remover. I'm not sure. So those are things to think about if you want to make that deck. Go ahead and play the plus power here, and then play the Oak. And Junk Arm, yes. 4. Do I Junk Arm for plus power again? I think I do. Yep. Junk Arm for double plus power, and that is going to be enough to take him out. It's going to put me back up to 120 instead of 100. That'll be 180 total. And I take the prize lead, so that's good. I actually almost have a 2 prize lead, really, because he's got to take out all these Groudons. So he does play Twins, though. That's a card that I don't play in my Entei deck. He plays a lot of them, too. I think that was his 3rd one, maybe only his 2nd. I'm not positive. But it definitely helps him out here. So not a bad call. He's able to get things he wants. I think he got a Junk Arm, and he actually showed it to me, which you don't have to do with twins, but it's not going to matter because he's going to play it down here anyhow. Yep, here it comes. And Ultra Ball and a random receiver for a catcher, I'm assuming. I go ahead and drag the Groudon up. He might have told me in Skype. Yep, for a catcher. And then he's going to Grand Flame. And hey, look at that. I have a switch. So that's good. I'm able to get the crappy Groudon out, get the fully charged one in. And then I don't have a whole lot else to do. I could go for an N. Could Juniper, but losing both of my other Eviolites would hurt quite a bit. So actually try to attach Eviolite here. I thought if you attached a tool, the other one was discarded, but you actually can't attach another tool if you already have one on. I wasn't sure about that, so I have to read the card, and then I see that I can't do that, and that hurts a lot. So N, not great here because I only get 4 cards. Juniper, not great because I have to get rid of all of my Eviolites, but in the end, I decide to go for the Juniper, just knowing that I can probably Junk Arm for those Eviolites later, and I can't use them right now anyhow, so there's not really any sense to hang on to them. I'd rather get a big hand and get some options. So here I get a catcher. I actually think I start targeting his Ninetales here. He's got enough out that I can actually take out 2 of the Ninetales, and if I do that, I only have to take out 1 more Entei, but never mind. That's not what I decided to do at all. I guess instead I go for Giant Claw on the non-eviolated Entei, and that's okay too. If I can take out this Entei, then again, like I said, I only have to take out those Ninetales instead of dealing with this eviolated Entei that's just going to be a giant pain in the ass to kill. So yet another flip on another Tails on Super Scoop Up. I think we're 2 for 8 at this point combined, something ridiculous. And that definitely hurts because it means I'm going to be able to take him out with this Groudon. Unfortunately, I cannot get an Eviolite, so that means I'm absolutely going to be revenged next turn, and that means that I have to get another Pokemon on my bench now, because otherwise I'm going to lose the game. So I'm going to Junk Arm here for a Heavy Ball and go ahead and search out the last Groudon from my deck. I also noticed that my deck is getting very, very thin at this point. That looked like less than 10 cards. I cut out the deck count just to try and get as much of the playmat in the picture as I could, but I don't have a whole lot of cards left, so time is also kind of an issue here. But go ahead and play the N. I get the experience share and a ton of energy, which actually isn't terrible at this point. And then my prizes are just amazing. Those are, outside of 2 catchers, those are probably the best prizes I could have drawn. I get a catcher and a Junk Arm, so that's awesome for me. It means that I have the resources to win the game without attacking this eviolated Entei that has no damage on it. And that is going to be my plan for this game. Right here, playing an N would pretty much devastate me. I really need 1 more turn to prepare, and then after next turn, N probably won't be as bad because I'm going to be able to thin out my hand, and not only that, I also get to attach this turn. So the experience share will let me move 1 energy, and then I do have the energy to attach. So that's going to be really good for me. This is going to be a great turn. There we go. I go ahead and attach my 3rd energy. That means Giant Claw is going to happen. And now I'm just going to prepare for an N. I'm going to get rid of cards that aren't going to help me anymore. That would be the Fighting Energy and the Super Scoop Up. This is my last Groudon, so I'm all in with him. It's win or lose. And what I decided to do is go ahead and Junk Arm for a catcher here. That's going to let me save the catcher that I have in hand and keep it either in my hand or in my deck if I do get end. And having the catcher in there is way better than having the junk arm, especially because I know I'm going down to 1 prize card here. So getting end at 1 prize card is going to mean I can't use junk arm on the following turn. So it's better to get it out of my hand, out of my deck now, and get the catcher that way, and then keep the catcher I had in hand in case it gets shuffled back in, because at this point there's no way for him to Oko me, and if I hit a catcher next turn, I win. That's all there is to it. So I want as many options for a catcher as I can get. We get a burn tower here, which is pretty irrelevant, but he just wanted to get it out of his hand because, as you see here, he did have the end. So he puts us both down to 1 card, which is really a good play on his part because he has the advantage here. Unfortunately for him, the card that I draw is the catcher, so I'm able to catcher out Ninetales and win the game. But as you can see here, I also had Juniper and Random Receiver, so I had overall a 3 out of 5 chance to win the game. Probability was definitely in my favor in that I would hit the catcher there, so it wasn't really that great, not like top decking that Juniper earlier. But anyhow, a really weird match. I think had he just been running straight Entei, he might have won. I know a lot of you guys have probably seen Puka's streams using straight Entei. It might be a deck that I try out later. I just love Ninetales so much. I want to use it as much as I can before it gets rotated out. But anyhow, really odd game, and definitely wanted to post just because of those ridiculous super scoop up flips. So leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching. Don't try to build this deck, make it better, and I will have more coming your way shortly. Thanks, guys.